Good morning, Year 3. This morning I'm going to read to you an extract from Walls in the Wall. It's a book that I know that you've been working on for quite some time. Once I've read it to you, I'm going to set you a task, and your task is going to be to rewrite the section that I've read. As I'm reading it, I want you to think about the language, I want you to think about what the authors used in terms of their devices, like speech or powerful verbs or adjectives to describe things, and the way that the authors made it exciting or a little bit scary or spooky, because I want you to use those same things when you're doing your writing. So I'm going to read it, and then afterwards I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about the task that you're going to be doing this afternoon. So this is the part where the wolves have driven the family out and they are outside, and then Lucy makes the decision to do something. So, I don't know if you can see that. They huddled at the bottom of the garden that night. The lights were on in every room of their house. Back in the house, they knew the wolves were watching their television and eating the food from the family's pantry and dancing wolfish dances up the stairs and down again. The family have got some ideas, I think. We should go and live in the Arctic Circle, said Lucy's father, where the houses are made with walls of ice and snow, and there's nothing but polar bears and seals for hundreds of miles. When the wolves come out of the walls, there's nothing else you can do. Said Lucy. I think we should go and live in outer space, said her brother. We could live in an orbiting space station with metal walls with lights on them that blink and flash, and nothing but foozles and squassocks for billions of miles. What are foozles and squassocks? Asked Lucy. Outer space things, he told her. They have lots of legs, except for the squassocks, who don't have any legs at all. But they are friendly enough. Okay. We must go and live in the Sahara Desert, said her mother, where the walls are coloured tents, silks that flap in the hot wind, and there's nothing but camels and desert foxes for thousands of miles. I don't want to live anywhere that isn't in my house, said Lucy, and I've left my pig puppet behind. We can get you a new one. Wherever we're going, said her mother. Now, let's try to go to sleep. Okay, lots of speech in there, so speech is definitely going to be something you're going to have to use this afternoon. It was chilly at the bottom of the garden, and Lucy missed her pig puppet. She'll be all alone in that house with the wolves, she thought. They could do dreadful things to her. There you go. She's lying there, and she's worried, and she's nervous. And I think she's starting to contemplate going back into the house, but we'll see. So she is. So, Lucy crept back up the garden, quieter than any mouse, and she slipped up the back steps and through the back door and into the house. Lucy was standing there in the little hall at the back of the house when she heard some wolves coming down the stairs. They had been eating jam and toast in front of the television and were coming back for more. Where could she go? What could she do? Those are type of questions, and some of you will know that they're rhetorical questions, which means that they don't need an answer, but it's to kind of get you to think about what she's thinking about, because that's again another technical strategy you might use in your writing. Quick as the flick of a wing of a bat, Lucy slipped into the wall. Let me read that again, because that's a really nice simile. Quick as the flick of the wing of a bat, Lucy slipped into the wall. She crept through the house on the inside, through the downstairs, up the middle, and into the wall of her bedroom. This is the last bit that we're going to read. This is the last bit that you're going to write about. There was a hungry wolf, fat as anything, asleep on her bed. He was wearing her socks, 2 on his back paws, 1 on his ear, and one on the tip of his tail. He was snoring very loudly. Okay, so your task today is to write that section. They're outside because they've gone outside because they were afraid of the wolves. The family have a little discussion about where they could go, so lots of speech. And then Lucy lies there, she's apprehensive, she's a little bit nervous and she's a little bit scared, but she's also missing her pig puppets as she decides to creep inside. And in that little section there's loads of lovely verbs about how she goes in, crept back up the garden, quieter than any mouse, or another simile, slipped up the back steps, slipped is a nice verb, and through the back door. So, once she's gone back inside, she's creeping through the house and through the upstairs and the downstairs, and then she sees something. And those who are listening really carefully know that she saw a big, huge, fat wolf sleeping on her bed with socks on his paws and on the end of his nose and on his ear. And he was snoring very loudly. And then that's the end. So, what I suggest you do is you draft it, you read it, you maybe show somebody at home what you've done. You think about all those things that you could have used, the speech dialogue. We've learned how to use speech marks. I was in your room for that. All those powerful verbs about how creeping and slipping and tiptoeing, and then a little bit of a description of the fat wolf at the end. Once you've drafted it, it'd be really nice for you to write it up in neat on any piece of paper and to decorate it and make it look really, really lovely. And then maybe take a photograph that you could somehow show to either me or Miss Palmer or Miss Atkar at the end as well. So draft it and then write it up neat. Okay. We're going to send you an email with this, with a link to this YouTube video on, so you can access it and watch it. And then in the email there'll be a little bit more of a description about what to do. Okay. Good luck.